We're live from the Fox Sports Radio studios. Ric Bucher did play soccer at Dartmouth, I believe. Am I correct, Rick?
That would be correct.
Wait a minute. Right. He's a big-time Ivy Leaguer?
Yeah, you didn't know
that?
Must have,
you went there to play soccer. I know they didn't just get you because of academics.
Rick,
it had to be.
Yeah.
You must have been nice in soccer, man.
No, they were filling a Midwestern quota, number one. They needed a redheaded, soccer-playing, piano-playing Midwesterner.
And Ronald McDonald had already committed, so they had no choice.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, I was told by one of your, I guess your avid listeners, Nate Hall, that I need to bring some heat. I need to light you guys up, and particularly you, Rob, need a kick in the ass.
Wow. So, about what?
I have no idea. I didn't ask any questions. I just said I will do what I can. So I'm here.
Rick, you've known me.
Rob,
Rick, you've known me for 100 years. I don't know what it is, but hey, I'm the same guy.
It could be any number of things. He said.
Guy. You're right. All
right, Rick. Let's get to this big news in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. Let's start here because we'll get into him on the Cavs. I think he's in a better basketball situation anyway. But Rob and I feel like the Knicks kind of blew it. I mean, I get if they didn't want to give up RJ Barrett, but it seems like the number of draft picks was a big stickler, and they may have been able to get him without giving up RJ Barrett if they had given up enough picks. Do you think they blew it as well? And we're not saying it because we think Donovan Mitchell was going to make them a contender.
End all or be all,
but they just need a star, you know.
And he wanted to play in New York, and he's from New York.
Yeah. No, I think, where they blew it was in being so out front for the last year.
Oh, yeah.
That they were going to get Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
Because my understanding is that is what had Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz. I was told last week that they would be willing to take a lesser deal from another team than send him to the Knicks. And if they were going to send him to the Knicks, it was going to have to be a deal that was so lopsided it made the Knicks look stupid for doing it. That they wanted to extract a pound of flesh because for the last year they made it. I mean, we all hear it, and it has to be fueled by the Knicks. It was like, well, it's a foregone conclusion. The Knicks want Donovan Mitchell, so they're just going to swoop in and take Donovan Mitchell from the Jazz. And they kind of ticked off about that, and they're wondering, like, how invested was Donovan in being here, thinking that he had 1 foot out the door. Could we have been a different team if that hadn't been the case? So my understanding is that at the last offer that the Knicks made included RJ. It was RJ. It was quickly. It was the 24 and 26 unprotected New York Knicks picks, the right to swap 25 and 27, and Milwaukee's first-round pick in 25, and 2 second-round picks. Now, if you tell me that you're going to give me Emmanuel Quickley and R.J. Barrett versus Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton and I'm trying to remember the
Achabi, or the rookie, number 14.
The rookie. To me, R.J. Barrett
is a better deal.
He's the best player of that crew. Right.
Is the better package. And if I'm sending Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I mean, that's a team that I don't know how good they're going to be in the postseason, but that's a perennial 50-win team easily. Right. I mean, they already are. They're already good without Donovan Mitchell. They're already, to me, a solid playoff team with Jared Allen, Mobley, and Darius Garland. And so I look at the difference between the unprotected picks. The New York Knicks unprotected picks are better than the unprotected picks from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I feel as if the Knicks, they made an offer that was better than what the Cavs offered, but because there was a little bit of spiteful feeling, it was going to cost them more. And I don't blame them for not handing over everything. Because look, they got 7 first-round picks the next 3 years. I think they could have loaded up enough picks with or without RJ to make it a deal that the Jazz couldn't refuse. But I'm not sold that Donovan Mitchell is worth all of that.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned the Cavs, and I agree with you. I mean, you got to like what they're putting together. Do you have any concerns, at least initially, about Donovan, how he's going to fit in there? Because obviously Garland can score, Mobley, you know, and Donovan likes to shoot it. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have, Darius became an all-star sort of the same way that Donovan did, and kind of like I'm a scoring point guard, and I can freewheel it. I can do what I want.
Right.
Now you got to split the difference between those two and two guys that are trying to prove that they're all-star caliber. That's definitely something that's going to have to be worked out. There's not one of them. Darius is more of a point guard than Donovan is, I think, but neither one of them is like a natural. Right. I'm going to be a distributor, and the other guy is going to be the scorer. How Donovan approaches being in Cleveland is going to be very, very important. But I felt this the same way in Utah. I felt like he got a little too full of, who he thought he was. To me, he's an undersized shooting guard who has to play just as hard at the defensive end as he is aggressive at the offensive end for him to be a star caliber player. He's not such a great offensive player that he can live on that alone. And so if he doesn't come into Cleveland thinking, you know what, I got to tighten up my game, I got to show that I'm willing to play both ways, then I don't know that this is going to be everything that the Cavs hope it will be.
Hey, Rick, one last thing. We only got about a minute. The Russell Westbrook, where does he wind up? Is he going to be with the Lakers? Is he going to be somewhere else? And some people, could he be released during the season? Give me what happens for him this year?
Well, this is the catch-22. Anybody who thinks that the Lakers are better by just getting rid of Russell Westbrook, I'm not with you. They don't have enough talent to be able to sacrifice that, and they're not going to be able to trade him. Like, everybody's coming down on Rob Pelinka because he hasn't made a deal. Tell me who wants that contract.
Right.
Nobody. Nobody.
Who's going to give anything? Some people might pick him up, maybe, but they're not going to give anything up for him.
Right. It doesn't make sense. None of it.
Yeah. So that's the difficulty they have. And the really tricky part, I'm going to see how they handle this. I could see a scenario where the Lakers are better with Pat Beverly starting and Russell Westbrook running the second unit coming off the bench.
Uh-oh.
And I just don't know that Russell Westbrook would be able to stomach the idea of Patrick Beverly starting over him.
And you're right in that might be their best lineup, but you're right. Oh, my gosh. Westbrook could go out like Iverson, Rick.
Well,
and I'm not
Iverson
mad at him.
Or Melo. Like Melo.
Yeah.
Like Melo was
humbled
radioactive there for a year or two.
Right. All right, that's the great Ric Bucher. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
You got it, fellas.